How often have you thought about the Pokemon Beartic? Probably not much. This is the kind of Pokemon that seems like it has no chance to be competitively viable anywhere. It's an ice type, the worst type in the game. It's slow, and it has no bulk, or not good enough bulk to make up for all its other shortcomings. Yes, it does have Swift Swim and Slush Rush to grant double speed, making up for its low speed, but even then, it's competing with so many other Swift Swim Pokemon. But why the hell would you ever use Beartic? Which is why I was shocked to learn of a Beartic team actually succeeding in Gen 9 OU and reaching an impressive 41st place in the world on the ladder. A performance like this is good enough, I think, to show that Beartic might actually have some value. But what the hell is Beartic being used for on this team? Despite being so terrible historically, Beartic does have some stuff to offer over other Swift Swim Pokemon. It's unique at least. Its best trait is definitely its attack stat, which is base 130. That is really, really good. It also has unique attacking options. It's an ice type, meaning it has ice stab, and that's maybe the most valuable stab type you can have, because ice is an amazing offensive type. You have such coverage as Earthquake, which is crucial, forming the beautiful ice ground coverage combo, and close combat for fighting coverage. Beautiful in a metagame where Kingambit is everywhere. Now usually Beartic being an ice type Swift Swim Pokemon rather than a normal water type would be a bad thing. You'd rather stack water type damage because you're making rain. The most successful Swift Swim Pokemon ever is probably Mega Swampert, who is exactly what you want. It's a water type, it has Stab Waterfall, and that is getting buffed by rain, plus it's getting double speed in the rain. This is the whole idea behind rain teams, so why would you want an ice type? Well, in Gen 9, interestingly, those water-type Swift Swim threats are really struggling right now because of the presence of Ogerpon Wellspring. Ogerpon Wellspring is horrendous for the rain matchup because it is immune to water, neutral to ice, which is common coverage, generally pretty bulky, and it strikes back with super effective grass-type damage. Most water-type Swift Swim threats are just completely terrible against Ogerpon Wellspring. And this Pokemon is insanely common. This makes rain teams feel inconsistent. Another thing that's devastating for rain teams in Gen 9 is the presence of Kyurem. Kyurem resists water and grass as well, is also neutral to ice, and has the move Freeze Dry, which is an ice type attack that hits water super effectively. So many common rain Pokemon like Pelipper, any water type, any ground type, is just destroyed by Freeze Dry, making Kyurem a horrible matchup, and Kyurem another really commonly seen Pokemon. Beartic kind of helps you against both of these matchups. I mean, if your Swift Swim threat is not a water type, but a whole different type, then it actually can pose a threat to Ogerpon Wellspring. And Beartic is actually able to switch in against a Kyurem clicking Freeze Dry, which is something you're going to invite constantly with a rain team. If Pelipper's in, maybe your Barraskewda's in or something, or any other water type. You're going to invite Kyurem to click Freeze Dry. In comes Beartic, and now you're threatening them with a close combat, and you're in a pretty commanding position. A lot of Swift Swim threats also suck against Kingambit, especially if Kingambit has some Supreme Overlord boosts, because a Sucker Punch will just KO most frail Swift Swim threats, especially Barraskewda, who has no bulk whatsoever. But Beartic not only threatens Kingambit with close combat, it can afford to run Substitute to play around Sucker Punch or Swords Dance and get a free turn against Kingambit. The set on this team is also running Loaded Dice with Icicle Spear. Loaded Dice is a new item that causes multi-hit moves to hit at least 4 times out of 5, and Icicle Spear is that multi-hit ice-type move. This plays around Dragonite very well, because Dragonite's multi-scale will get broken, and then the subsequent hits will deal full damage to it. Dragonite is another Pokemon that can be rough for these teams because of its water resistance, its Terra set, its extreme speed. It generally just puts a stop to a lot of these rain threats, and Beartic matches up incredibly well against Dragonite. Another target that you hit very well with Beartic is Zapdos. Icicle Spear does not make contact, and it devastates Zapdos. It's another bad matchup for rain teams because of course it's a bulky electric type. Water types don't like Zapdos. Beartic helps you there. The Terra type on the Beartic is Ground, which makes a lot of sense not only to buff the damage of Earthquake if you need it, but also defensively. lets you be immune to Thunderclap from Raging Bolt, and just also gain some resistances, like Rock Resistance, or neutrality to things that would have threatened you if you were an Ice type. Rain teams feel pretty terrible right now, and this is a creative adaptation to the metagame, I think, by the player Protalithic on Smogon, with a wonderful polar bear profile image that is thematically appropriate. If the traditional way of building rain teams, which is spamming water type damage, is not working, then why not try a different Swift Swim threat that doesn't play to those traditional rain team strengths? It has different strengths, which are usually bad, but in this meta, Beartic might be the way to go on rain. What a world. It actually does help in most of rain's bad matchups. Now, what's tragic about Beartic is that even with the Swift Swim boost doubling its speed, it is still slower than Dragapult. That is insanely rough. This team generally seems like it's kind of struggling against Dragapult. There's no great switch into it. It does outrun the Beartic and everything else except the Barraskewda, who might not even be able to one-hit consistently. So that's a problem. That's a big problem. But other than that, it's a great idea. It's worth exploring more. I know 41st on the ladder isn't as good as some other teams I've covered on the channel, but I think it's really impressive for Beartic, who I've never seen do anything in my life. I think that's really impressive, and the idea shows promise. This player said they're going for rank 1, which, you know, I hope they do hit rank 1 with Beartic. That would be cool. That would be funny. Another bear-adjacent Pokemon that has seen some success recently despite being low-ranked is Pawmot. Is Pawmot even a bear? What is this? It looks like a bear to me. Apparently Pawmot is a rodent that appears to be based on a marmot ground squirrel. Okay. I feel like that does not look like a squirrel. That's a bear in my world. But that's not the point, is it? That's not what anyone cares about right now. Pawmot had a lot of hype surrounding it when it was first revealed because it was one of the new Pokemon with access to the game changer, or what we thought would be a game changer, Revival Blessing, the first ever Pokemon move that can revive an ally. It works exactly like the revive item from the single player games and brings a fainted Pokemon back to life at 50% of their HP. It only has 1 PP on it, so it can only be used once per battle, usually. But that still seemed like a really powerful effect at the time. And Pawmot seemed like an okay Pokemon to use this with. It's electric fighting, good type combo. Okay stats with attack and speed, being above average kinda. But in practice, Revival Blessing did not end up being that impactful because, you know, Pawmot itself is frail. It's hard to get it in and click Revival Blessing with it. And when you do, you're only bringing the ally back to 50. So it's hard for them to even live much longer when you do that. Plus, it only works once. So all of that is just not that good in practice. It sounded broken because we've never had an effect like that before. But in reality, it wasn't that powerful. Pawmot ended up down in the PU tier. And that's where it's ranked now. But interestingly, this player here, Chicos, has experimented with Pawmot yet again in OU, returning to the Pokemon that we have all dismissed as a low tier. Is there some merit to Pawmot after all? Now, if you're going to build around Pawmot, you probably want Pokemon to benefit a lot from this Revival Blessing support. So an obvious auto-inclusion is King Gambit. This is not a surprise, I'm sure. King Gambit is one of the top Pokemon in the game, but King Gambit is especially good as a teammate with Pawmot because not only is it valuable to revive it if it's fainted because of how strong it is, but it also can get a lot of triggers on Supreme Overlord from fainted allies. If one of your allies faints, Supreme Overlord will come into effect and grant you a 10% damage boost. But even if you revive that ally, King Gambit will still receive the boost. The boost will still stay there. Now, King Gambit still has a cap on how much it can be boosted. It can only be boosted up to 50%, but you can achieve that 50% without your whole team being dead. You can still have guys alive from Revival Blessing and be at maximum King Gambit power, which is very good actually. And it's nice to have a Pokemon that doesn't mind being revived at half health. A lot of Pokemon at half health are basically useless, but if you revive King Gambit, it's bulky enough to switch in and live a hit from a lot of things, and then from there it's threatening Sucker Punch, and it's been boosted by Supreme Overlord because of the faint procs. But King Gambit, of course, is beautiful with this. Some other teammates that are high value revive targets are Kyurem and Iron Moth as the team's main offensive threats. Kyurem is a generally powerful offensive Pokemon that is kind of able to tear apart common defensive cores. It has Freeze Dry, which hits Dondozo and Ogerpon Wellspring. It's a Dragon Dance Kyurem with Icicle Spear, and that is classic, powerful damage, and it even has Terra Ground as a way to get ground physical coverage to really round out that combo, and power through enemies like Iron Moth, Cinderace, etc. Iron Moth is a really good immediately threatening special attacker with booster energy, which grants a speed boost. Unfortunately, if you revive it, you're not going to get the booster energy boost back, but it's still a really good Pokemon to revive. It's naturally very fast and threatening. And then you have the defensive backbone of the team. And on an aggressive team like this, you want some Pokemon that can come in on defensive hits, but you want them also to be proactive themselves. So here we've got Landorus, Therian, and Hatterene. Landorus, Therian is of course an obvious choice. It can pivot in on so many things, U-turn, and then bring in your other powerful threats, maybe even the Pawmot to revive something. It's also good to revive this. At 50, Landorus, Therian can still do stuff. It helps that the defensive backbone of the team is also a good revival blessing target. And that's also true of Hatterene, who happens to be running Healing Wish, who is kind of like another revive. Healing Wish will sacrifice Hatterene in order to fully heal an incoming Pokemon. While it's not technically a revive, it can pretty much bring a Pokemon back to life if it was about to die. If it's chipped down to 16% or something, you fully heal it, cure all its status, and now it is able to be used again. It's a very common and popular option on offensive teams, and it's a great one here. Hatterene in general is providing the team with Magic Bounce support for some hazard control, which you need when you're running Kyurem and Iron Moth, who are very hazard weak. It's got Nuzzle for some para support, and is generally a good option on teams like this. Also helps that Healing Wish sacrifices yourself, which allows you to pivot in something. And reviving Hatterene is also a good choice because it lets you get one more Magic Bounce block in the books, or maybe bring it in, Healing Wish, heal up something low, and sweep with that. This is actually a pretty unique approach to a Pawmot team, to be honest. It may seem obvious when you look at it, but back when Pawmot hype was at its peak and people were running this guy in OU, I saw a lot of Pawmot Rain teams, you know, revive the Weather Setter, revive the Swift Swim Pokemon. Saw a lot of Pawmot with like Choice Specs users that can, you know, get a lot out of being revived and keep wall breaking. But this is like a simpler, more grounded approach to the Pawmot thing that seems like it's way more consistent than what people were using in the past when trying to build around Revival Blessing. The Pawmot itself is running Leper Berry, of course, to get one more Revival Blessing per game, and just a simple move pool with physical attacks. Mach Punch is nice as a form of priority, great against enemy King Gambit, great to pick off low health enemies. Double Shock is powerful electric move, and Ice Punch is nice coverage, hitting stuff like Gliscor and enemy Landorus. This team reached 19th on the ladder, which I think is really good. It's certainly better than anyone probably thought Pawmot could achieve in current day Gen 9 OU. And maybe this will lead to a bit of a reevaluation of Pawmot. I doubt it would ever be OU ranked, but Revival Blessing is certainly an extremely unique option that seems to have some value on this sort of offensive team. Pawmot also has a little bit more to offer with like Volt Absorb and Encore as some more defensive options. Volt Absorb lets you maybe hit the field against a Raging Bolt or a Zapdos or something. Encore can provide valuable utility, so those are options worth considering. This team's just running Iron Fist for the punch damage and Mach Punch for priority, but Pawmot has a bit of moveset variety we could explore for sure. I'm very impressed with this team. Peaking 19th with Pawmot is quite an achievement, and it's definitely a showcase of what Pawmot is capable of. And finally, in an unbelievable twist of fate, we have another team featuring Pawmot, with the Volt Absorb Encore options I just talked about. But you might notice that this team actually has no OU ranked Pokemon on it whatsoever. This player appears to have been doing a ladder challenge with the 0 OU Pokemon on a team. And they actually managed to do incredibly well with this, achieving an impressive rating of 1911. And what really caught my eye here was the damn Frosmoth. Frosmoth is a famously terrible Pokemon. It has the most tragic type combination I think in the whole series, Ice Bug. That is just dreadful. You are ×4 weak to rock and fire and weak to everything I can possibly think of. Frostmoth is an interesting Pokemon design though, because it has the ability Ice Scales, which is in a vacuum one of the strongest Pokemon abilities ever designed. It has the effect of halving damage from special attacks, all special attacks. That's a crazy effect. Unfortunately, your typing is so bad that usually, you know, the benefits of this ability are not enough to make up for that. But there's some merit to Frostmoth beyond this. It has a very high special attack stat, access to Quiver Dance, and also randomly access to Defog to remove hazards, which is a strange combo, but Quiver Dance is an amazing boosting move with the support of Terra. You can make up for your garbage typing, get more out of Ice Scales, and you do have Stab Ice Beam. That's very good. So there's some potential for Frostmoth. This is a very interesting approach to our Frostmoth team, if a Frostmoth team is even something that exists. Because this one's running Pincurchin. It's an electric terrain Frostmoth Pawmot team. It's just getting crazier the more I describe it. Pincurchin, of course, is the only electric terrain setter legal in Gen 9 OU, which is interesting because Pincurchin can enable the ability Quark Drive on all of the future Paradox Pokemon, granting a boost to their highest stats. This is one of the only Pincurchin teams I've seen that is running a single future Paradox Pokemon, that is Iron Hands. Instead, the electric terrain synergy is coming from the fact that this is Terra Electric Frostmoth, so it's going to get electric type damage on its electric type Terra Blast. That's crazy. It's also buffing the damage on the Pawmot Double Shock. It's buffing the damage on Rotom Wash Volt Switch, and we're running Raichu Alola on this. Raichu Alola, who, yes, it does have electric terrain synergy, but it's a crazy choice. The guy is ranked in ZU. It's an electric psychic type with Surge Surfer, which grants double speed in electric terrain. It's just a crazy team all around, but if you think about it, it sort of works, doesn't it? These are Pokemon that synergize. The Pawmot is benefiting from the electric terrain. It's sort of a form of counterplay against enemy electric types if they have them, because you are buffing them as well. It revives a lot of valuable things. Reviving this Raichu is really good. Reviving the Pincurchin lets you reset electric terrain on the field. You could kind of view this Frostmoth as the world's worst Volcarona or Espathra. Those guys are both banned. Frostmoth can kind of do what they did, right? It's got Quiver Dance, it's got Terra. It's the same thing if you squint your eyes. And the Iron Hand set is kind of diabolical, because it's running Quick Claw, which is an RNG item. Gives you a 20% chance every turn to move first in your prior bracket. Can be really good on something so slow, and honestly, it's a pretty good item choice on Iron Hands, isn't it? You're not getting much out of leftovers, you are running Pincurchin anyway, you don't need booster energy. What else would this run? This gives you a 20% chance every turn to maybe just destroy whatever the hell's in front of you with an unexpected Quick Claw proc. Iron Hands is not the strangest thing on the team, in fact it's probably the most normal Pokemon here. On another team it would be the weirdest, but on this team, this is the most normal Pokemon. But yeah, it's a logical choice. I can't deny that the team, it works well together in a strange way. It's clearly a team that is designed as a restrictive challenge, where you're not allowed to use any OU Pokemon, but it's absolutely a creative approach to that challenge, and it's another point in the favor of Pawmot. Pawmot is actually getting some good ladder ranks under its belt recently, and this is the most I've seen Frostmoth achieve anything in my life, so, you know, maybe there's something to Frostmoth as a Quiver Dance threat. If this team is anything, it's a thought experiment. It's raising some interesting questions. Maybe the best set here is actually the Quick Claw Iron Hands. This actually might be the best item about Iron Hands. That's really good, to be honest. You know what? I think I need some evidence that this team has ever achieved anything. Let's take a look at one of the replays. You look at this matchup, and this looks like a Temp 6T video opener. We've got the Frostmoth Pincurchin against, you know, Iron Moth, Kingambit, Dragonite, Iron Valiant. This is quite a visual. But let's take a look at how this plays out. The Pincurchin lead is to be expected, and this is because it almost feels like the enemy is benefiting more from the electric terrain than you are. But, oh wow, it's a fantastic opener. You've paralyzed Iron Valiant. It's actually still faster than everything, I think, because of Quark Drive. Well, not Raichu though. It's no faster than Raichu. A beautiful follow-up. And guess what? You can revive that Pincurchin if you need to. Anyone ever think of that? You can revive Pincurchin, I realize. It might be genius. I'm gonna try this team later. I'm gonna try this. Now the real question is, can Iron Hand survive that? Not if it crits. Not if it crits. Definitely not. But the Raichu follow-up. Raichu is pretty good, man. Raichu is pretty threatening and funny. I think I'm bought into the Raichu. The Rotom Wash having light screen I didn't even realize, but it does have light screen. That's cool. So Pawmot can encore the Raging Bolt, which is devastating for our enemy. They have just overcommitted to Calm Minds and been thrown into the garbage. The Encore is actually kind of cool because it is a bit of matchup insurance. Rotom Wash can pivot back into the newly revived Pincurchin, or it can just Hydro Pump for a KO. Here's Raging Bolt again. Oh, you have thrown, I think, by Calm Mind. No, you haven't. Shockmoth didn't Volt that time. But you can... No, the Pawmot can Encore Thunderbolt, and it's literally immune. It's the checkmate. It's the Pawmot checkmate. You revived everybody. No one dies on this team. Nobody ever dies on this team. You have nuzzled the Dragonites. You have this Pawmot is so good. It's so good, folks. Holy moly. The guy's encoring, he's signing his own death warrant by staying in there. The Pincurchin, I think it's a Raichu sweep, folks. Is it not a Raichu sweep? Alluring Voice is fairy type move. King Gambit can come in, but will it Terra? I don't know. You just go Pawmot. And holy moly, the Encore again is just... The Encore again. You're forced out to your paralyzed Dragonite. What the hell is paralyzed Dragonite going to do? This is destruction. It's destruction. I'm very glad I chose to watch this, because this is an incredible game. The Dragonite used Encore in a bit of a twist with Drain Punched there to perhaps call out an extreme speed, or just, you know, KO King Gambit if it wants to come in. I don't think there's any hope for the opponents. I don't believe there is. The Frostmoth didn't get to hit the field, but he was part of the team. He was part of the team here. And just like that, Pawmot has ended your career. Encore. Good night. I think Pawmot can just double the shock, or you can do whatever the hell you want, really, with an Encore to King Gambit. We've all switched to Pawmot for the road. Reapply Encore. That's a checkmate. That is a checkmate. You have been had. A Raichu Volt Switch or Thunderbolt will be lethal. It's a Volt Switch. Just as a joke, really. That was the game that resulted in a 1900 rating. That was outstanding. That was an outstanding battle. This team looks like a blast, folks. As a rare instance, this makes me want to play Gen 9 OU. Can you believe it? I feel like playing Gen 9 OU right now. This is wonderful. The team was built by Shockmoth. Please check out the Smogon thread. Give them some respect. Thank you for watching, everybody. You can get surprisingly creative in Gen 9 for all its faults. You can get creative. You really can. Which of these teams is your favorite? I think after that display, you gotta go with Raichu Pawmot Electric Terrain Offense. It has to be that. What do you think, though? Let me know down below in the comments. And thank you for watching.